if God were not interested in us, what would be the point of studying this book? Even if we believe God existed and he's the creator of the heavens and the earth and all of us, but if God is not interested in us, then what difference does it make? But the reality, the truth is that God is interested in us. He is standing at the door and he is knocking. Do you hear his voice? He desires a relationship with you. A friend of mine, Don Johnson, he's passed on to be with the Lord now. He wrote a song called God's Face is Turned Toward Me. The message and the lyrics from the song came or were inspired by a very tragic story that happened. There was a young family that had a devastating accident. A husband and wife had a daughter about 4 or 5 years old. The mother was killed in a tragic accident. And the first night after they buried the mother, Dad tucked the little girl in that night to bed and kissed her on the forehead and went on into his room and crawled into bed and turned the light off. And in a few moments, he heard a knock at the door, and his little girl said, "Daddy, can I sleep in here tonight?" And he said, "Sure, baby, come on." And so she crawled up in bed with Dad, and a few moments passed, and she said, "Daddy, it's so dark in here tonight." And that father, understanding his daughter's pain, he acknowledged and said, "Yes, honey, it's so dark tonight. It's a dark night." A few moments later, again, she said, "Daddy, it's really dark in here tonight." And feeling her sorrow and grief, sharing it with her, he said, "Yes, honey, I know it's really dark tonight." Still unsatisfied and still disturbed, a few moments later, the little girl said, "Daddy, it's so dark in here that I can't even see my hand in front of my face." And he said, "Baby, I know I can't think of a darker night in all my life than tonight." A few moments passed and she said, "Daddy, is your face turned toward me?" And he said, "Yeah, babe, my face is turned to you. I'm looking right at you." That's all it took for that little girl to peacefully drift off to sleep, knowing that her daddy's face was turned her direction. That inspired my friend Don Johnson to write the song, God's Face is Turned Toward Me. He sees me, and he knows just what I need. In my darkest hour, when I can hardly see, God's face is turned toward me. I want to tell you today that God's face is turned toward you. Some may think of God as being this impersonal being somewhere out there in the stratosphere that may exist, but he's not interested in us. He's watching us from a distance. But that's not what the Bible declares. The Bible shows us and teaches us that God is a God who is standing at the door of our lives. His face is turned toward us. He is looking in our direction. He is seeking a relationship with us. You were created by God and for God. He made you because he wants to have a personal relationship with you.